Joining us now, Dmitri Alperovitch, Silverado Policy Accelerator Chairman. Good morning and thank you for your time. There is a heavy police presence around all of the service today. It's risky for people to show up and to speak out about Navalny and their support for him. What does that show, that people are willing to put their own selves in danger to be part of his funeral service today and pay their respects?
It is indeed very risky. In fact, over 100 people so far have been arrested across Russia this morning at some of these protest sites that are present in many cities across Russia. Thousands, nevertheless, have shown up in Moscow to say goodbye to Alexei Navalny. But we have to be careful here not to overestimate his support. The reality is that in a city of 10 million people, more than 10 million people, thousands of people showing up in Moscow is not a huge number. And while Navalny had his supporters in Russia, obviously people that feel very strongly about his likely murder by Vladimir Putin, he did not have the majority of support across the Russian population, in part because he was getting very little attention on the national government media, and to the extent that he was given any attention, it was always negative.
Right, and often silenced even up until his death. It was very powerful, the image that was shared of his open casket today. I had heard that that wasn't going to happen. What do you know about why that decision was made and it changed, and the message symbolically that that sends?
Well, initially, it looks like the regime wanted to have a private funeral. They were blackmailing the mother that they would not give her the body. They held the body for over a week and said that they would be willing to give the body only if there was a private funeral with just the family attending. She refused. She went public. There was a lot of public pressure that was put on the regime. They finally relented. They gave the body, and she was free to do whatever she wanted with it, and ultimately opted for an open funeral with supporters present who are obviously free to take pictures.
Right, but having the open casket takes it a step further, right?
Yeah, it's actually quite common in Russian culture to have open casket funerals in Orthodox Church, so that's not surprising.
We don't know still how he died. Do you think we'll ever know?
Probably unlikely. Perhaps the family took some tests, maybe some blood tests from the body. We don't know. We won't know for quite some time. Of course, part of the reason why his body may have been held for so long without being given to the family is to try to get rid of any evidence if there's any chemical agents that were used to potentially kill him. But look, he was moved to this Arctic penal colony late last year, far away from civilization, where the only times of day is evening and night. And clearly that was an attempt to isolate him even further from his family, from his friends, from his supporters. And if they wanted to kill him, that was the perfect place to do it.
Finally, Dmitri, Russia's presidential elections will be taking place later this month in just a couple of weeks. Vladimir Putin all but assured to secure another term in that leadership position and keep him in power until 2030. Before he died, Alexei Navalny called on voters to go to the polls and form long lines. How do you suspect his death will impact this upcoming election, if at all?
Well, Putin is determined for these elections to go off without a hitch. This is really, really important to him. Your viewers might be perplexed. Why? Because clearly he's going to win. But he not only wants to win, he wants to win with such a huge margin. He hopes to do that with minimal election interference in terms of ballot staffing. He wants to show the world and most importantly, the Russian public, that he still has their support to prosecute his illegal war in Ukraine. He's going to go to any length and quite possibly even murder to make sure that that election goes off without a hitch.
Yeah, no matter what it takes and whose lives are in the way of that power. Dmitri Alperovitch, as always, thank you. Nice to see you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.